right, you are live.
Thank you so much. Welcome everyone to the July 21st meeting of the Annapolis Transportation Board. Getting right to it, I can see from the committee, we've got Beth, Tara, Zoe, Bob, Dave, and Vince. And also joining us this evening is Alderwoman Karma O'Neill, and then of course Kwaku is here with the Annapolis Transportation Department. Moving right along, I don't see Kurt, so we will hold off talking about the different members. Maybe we'll get to that later on in the meeting. We do have a really interesting topic tonight, and one is that the Environmental Commission has invited us to their meeting, and I did send around some materials for that. I do think there is some alignment. I went back into the, I'm going to call it the 15-year plan, but the Annapolis large-scale plan that takes us with, good guidance and thoughts and goals all the way out to 2040, does have some very interesting goals listed that are really sort of along an environmental line. Transportation policies will lead in creating a greener and healthier Annapolis to sustain the economic, environmental, and social quality of the city. I do think our investments toward public transit and reducing people's reliance on automobiles also has an environmental sustainability quality to it. I haven't had a chance to talk to any of the members from the AEC, but I do think joining their meeting and listening to them and seeing where we are aligned and what they might want to work together jointly would be a very interesting conversation. I know, Vince, you had some thoughts about it. I don't know if you're able to talk in the car, but if you'd like to join in with your thoughts, that'd be great.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I agree 100% that we should be seeking both alignment and collaboration with both them and housing. And on the housing side, I work in construction and spent many years in building science. And, most people think that transportation is the biggest piece of the environmental puzzle. It's actually housing and the built environment. But where they all three come together is planning, housing, and transportation that works together functionally to reduce the strain on the environment. So personally, all three of those happen to coincide for me. And I think, yes, it's essential that we both integrate and collaborate with those efforts.
So I suspect Vince and I will certainly be on the call. Is anyone else planning on participating, or would you like us to get back to you, Zoe?
I don't mind participating. I'm pretty sure that if I can find my calendar, but I'm pretty sure I'm available on Wednesday. Just a second. Yeah.
And
of course,
Zoe, I'm not certain whether everyone on our committee received the invitation or whether it just came to me and I need to forward it. Did you happen to get an invitation?
I got it. I got the invitation.
I received it also.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, I'm available on Wednesday. It's a Wednesday at 7.
I think so. At one point I saw 6 p.m., but I think then a change came through that was 7.
Okay. Have you seen the agenda? Are we on for just a portion or the whole? Are they encouraging us to participate in the whole meeting?
I can write you a note. I don't recall.
Okay.
I don't think they said. It just said.
Yeah, I don't know that the agenda was specific.
So it'd be good to know.
Yeah. They had asked for last month, but I was traveling, and so I punted.
I'm not available on Wednesday.
Okay, Bob, thanks for letting me know. All right, so no issues there then. That sounds great. It should be a nice, interesting dialogue. Scheduling conflicts in August meeting. We had numerous scheduling conflicts this past spring. And Karma, I really want to thank you so much for pointing out to Hillary Radovich why the timing wasn't working and that council meetings were overlaid on our meetings and, really leading to reduced participation. So thank you for pointing out that problem. She seems to have rectified it for now. Since we missed so many meetings this past spring, I have put August on the calendar. So there will be an August meeting this summer. And it'd probably be a perfect opportunity to round back on what we hear from the AEC and also how it aligns with the goals that are in the 2040 plan. I haven't heard from Forrest on our minutes, so I don't have anything to present for you on that. So moving along. Public participation, I've not received any. If anyone else has some, please let me know, but I have not received any public participation. Next on the agenda, City Council update. So Karma, welcome.
Thank you. I appreciate the time. I don't have a lot to update. If you followed our last Transportation Committee meeting last week, 2 weeks ago, you will know that we have invited Premium Parking and SP Plus / Metropolis to the last 3 Transportation Committee meetings. In order for them to provide data to us, we sent a list of very specific data questions in regards to the garage, the use of the garage, the number of violations that had been given for staying over time versus the number of people that were using either the 2-hour free resident code and or the shop, dine, and park programs, and Premium had declined to attend any of the last 3 meetings. And the last meeting we had, we actually voted to summons them to the September meeting in order to provide the data that we've been requesting. So we'll see how that goes. We did move the September meeting to September 9th from the 10th due to some scheduling conflicts. So that meeting will take place at 4 p.m. in council chambers. And I should know prior to that whether we're actually going to have Premium there or not. As you guys know, Premium Parking is the parking contractor for Hillman Garage and then parts of downtown in districts 1 and 2. And we've been dealing with them since 2023, shortly after they opened, and try to get from them some reasoning behind what we think are somewhat predatory operations. And as well as just talking about the garage use as a whole. And, you know, the council's in a position where we could talk about different things like on-demand parking pricing, and, you know, utilizing the garage for different programs, such as more extending employee programs. But we can't do any of that without the data. And so that's why we decided to summons them. They sent us a feeble attempt at data shortly. I guess it was right before our meeting, but none of us had an opportunity to even open it if we knew about it. There was literally a graph that had like 5 different numbers on it. So inadequate for sure. And we're working with the transportation department to make sure that we do get all of the correct data that we're asking for. And so that we can move forward. It's been, you know, almost 3 years now with residents complaining, as they should. I've been complaining and we've been asking for change, and they're just haven't been responsive. So that's the biggest thing that the Transportation Committee has done. As far as council, we had a work session last Thursday. I don't know if anybody had an opportunity to tune in. I know that Zoe was there to talk about the timeline and what's going on with City Dock. I know that's on top of everyone's mind. I know it's mine. And it felt a little bit better leaving there knowing timeline, the fact that the city is pretty confident we're going to get the FEMA money. It's just a wait and see. We'll know probably by the end of August when that's due to arrive. But if for some reason we don't receive that money, there is a plan to move forward without some of the amenities, we'll call them, of the City Dock plan. So I did feel more confident after the meeting that we're actually moving in the right directions. For a while, I thought we were sort of spinning our wheels without knowing and without having a project timeline. I'm all about knowing what's going to happen in phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and how long each of those are going to take and the impact. Sorry, my dog's trying to join in the conversation. The impact that it's going to have on folks. So we do have a 3-year timeline in order to get everything completed, and that takes into account stopping for the boat shows. So we won't lose out on those opportunities, and those are actually revenue making opportunities. The city makes somewhere between $500,000 and $700,000 off of the boat shows. That's just the boat show fees. That doesn't count the additional revenue brought into hotels and restaurants and retailers and all of those types of things. So those are 2 updates that I have. If anybody has any questions, I know that Zoe was there and has as many answers as I do. So
Carmen, Beth's hand is up.
Yes, I was just curious, if you don't get the premium parking, again, this would be the 4th time that you've invited them to come and to also submit not only a good readable statistics to you. What recourse does the city have? I mean, it seems like they're just, saying I can do what I want to do, and I don't have to answer to you at all at this point. But what does the recourse the city have?
I don't know the answer to that, but I am confident just from the couple of emails that I've received from Premium in the last week that they plan to be there because they know that we're serious and we need the information. And they had been apparently waiting on some data from the city that the city had already provided them. So I'm confident that they're going to show. And then if we don't get the answers that we want, then we'll summons them again. But
that just keeps pushing off what you want to do. And it's just that constant tug and pull, but nothing goes anywhere. You're just tugging and pulling, so. Okay.
Yeah, it's an interesting scenario because Premium actually doesn't work for us. They work for the partnership, and they were hired by the partnership. So unfortunately, we don't have a lot of pull when it comes to that. But I think that this summons sort of opened up people's eyes to say, like, hey, we've been asking, and yes, we're serious. And so I do think it's a positive move in the right direction. I see that Kwaku wants to add in.
Yeah, I hope so.
Just in terms of the kind of records that the city actually may have, I believe the Nord has taken the time to look at the agreement with AMRP. They are required to give us data. And this is not the first time Premium has reluctantly given us some data. You follow up with additional questions and you don't hear back from them. The data they were asking the city for is, in my view, not necessary because it's operational data from SP Plus. We want your data so that if the city gets both sets of data, we will analyze and make our determination. So the request for data from Premium should not be predicated upon whatever data the city actually has from the other parking management company. The city, in the agreement, we can check with the law office and make reference to that specific clauses that requires them to submit all this kind of data. I don't see the reason why Premium has been very reluctant to provide the data. So it will be very interesting. We did get some data from them regarding the number of citation issues, revenues, and things like that. And I actually, normally I try to stay away from parking, but I took the opportunity to analyze it. There were several questions and they never responded to that. So let's see if they honor the invitation to come for the fourth time, with the fourth invitation, and then we go from there. Otherwise, I think we can take a closer look at the agreement and see what kind of actions the city. They almost always hide behind the fact that the city didn't hire them. Yes, we do understand, but you are working with a partner that the city actually has a relationship. And therefore, you have to abide by those rules and regulations or requirements in the agreement, which include providing all the financial data anytime the city asks. Thank you.
Correct.
Bob has his hand up as well.
Hello. Yes, I understand from my alderman, Harry Huntley, that Premium Parking has hired a lobbyist to lobby the city. Is that correct, Karma?
I heard through the grapevine that they had hired a lobbyist, but I have no idea what that lobbyist's roles and duties are. Nobody has outlined it. So I don't know.
Thank you for the update, Karma. Kwaku, do you have an Annapolis transportation?
I have been out for a while. I was out sick. I don't know. One thing I'm very much aware is that the TDP has been completed, approved by council. In my absence, I'm not sure whether the director did transmit it to the transportation board. As a kind of officially, here is the document. So if you have not received that, then I'll make it a priority to make sure that I send you a PDF version of the plan, and then you can share with the board. And then we can look at the recommendations, short, medium, and long term, and anything that we want to proceed with, we can have a discussion as time goes on. So we are very thankful for MTA that paid the bulk of the consulting fee for that. However, the plan, as the members of the Transportation Advisory Committee actually would testify, was all driven by local inputs. Whatever that we want to see the change made, the consultant will do that based upon our recommendations. So although MTA did pay the consultant, we own the whole product from beginning to the end. So it's done. We will transmit it to you if you don't have a copy, and read over if you want to have a meeting with transportation, but look at the specific recommendations, which one we want to move forward with, especially as we get ready for this is FY26, but I think we need to have the discussion right now if you want to see some concrete steps or action takings in the FY27 budget. So we need to start now. So let me know if you haven't received a copy of the plan. I will make it a point to send it over.
I believe I have shared it with everyone, given the link, Kwaku, but I can double check to make sure that what I shared was the final. That would be the only question.
Yeah, because I was out for a while.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, you know, I took it off the website. The website had it all there. So I just took it from there and shared it. Okay.
If that is the website, that may not be the final plan, because I believe there were some couple of recommended changes that we asked the consultant to do. So I believe last week I did see a PDF version of that one.
All right. Yeah, send it and we can send it to everybody, or send it to me and I'll share it with everybody either way.
All right. Otherwise, I don't have any major events or activities.
Were you part of the this Anne Arundel County Department of Public Works meeting about safe routes to transit, Greater Annapolis?
Normally, it's Marcos and Jamal Parker who attend those meetings.
Got it. Got it.
So
I mean, I wasn't aware of it until days after, only because I happened to see a sign at the bus stop. So I think I will reach out to their project manager, just in terms of getting on some distribution lists so that we can be informed and participate.
Okay. We have been working with them. It's almost every other week or so. I do see the invitations, but Marcos and Gemma Parker are the main staff people who do work with the county on there.
Yeah, I suppose I can reach out to Marcus and just ask that it be shared. You know, it's always good to go and hear what's going on there. And obviously there's a lot of crossover, right, between Anne Arundel County buses and us. So it was a missed opportunity, but we're going to make up for it, I'm sure. Beth?
Okay.
Yes, Kwaku,
Yes.
are you gonna, I know that Tara's gonna send out the plan, but did you send it to the final plan to the advisory committee?
No,
Because I didn't get it.
No, I was out for some time, and it was last week when I did see that. That's why I actually prefaced my saying if the board has not received it. But given the fact that if I heard you correctly, you took it from the website, that will not be the final plan. Because remember, there were some recommendations from the transportation committee and other people that we send it back, especially from Alderman Savage, that we ask the consultant to take a closer look and make the necessary changes. So that one, those changes were made, and I saw the final plan sent by the consultant to us, I believe sometime last week. So I will send you what I have and then look at the date. Normally when there is an update to the plan, we actually put the month and then the year. So I believe this one will be July 2025, but I will double check it. So what we have, if it's not dated June or July 2025, then that may not be the final plan. Yeah, but I will send to you what I do have.
Okay,
And
thank you
for your service.
Next on the agenda is new business. I'm not sure we have any. I've been trying to track some of the legislation, and I didn't see anything related to transportation. There were some very interesting things to read about trying to limit the number of Airbnbs per block, which Karma, I can't wait to see how that works in practice, because I think that's just going to be challenging. So no new business other than us meeting with the AEC. I'm going to do round the table. Zoe.
Okay, I'm hoping to talk without my dogs interrupting me, but I did want to bring a piece of new business, and I'm going to do this on behalf of Karma and Ward 2 as well, to talk about some conversations that are starting to be had about the two traffic signals, one at King George and Route 450 and the other at Gate 8 at the Naval Academy and Route 450, and congestion during summer backups that were have been going on for a number of years, mostly Friday afternoons, but seem to be much more periodic, but that's not really anything new. But there is good news, and that is both of those lights and transportation studies have been conducted by State Highway Administration as part of the pedestrian and safety bicycle improvement project that's under design. It's not really for me to share the specifics of what they're looking at and how it would fold into that project, but I did want to extend an invitation, and I'd be happy to do that on behalf of the board for State Highway to come talk to us about those two lights and look at potential short-term as well as long-term options. The long-term options are new signals that are timed and sequenced, and but there are obviously some short-term issues associated with the lights that we could look into as well. So thought the transportation board might be a good venue for that, given that it really is a city issue as well as a Naval Academy. Those lights are owned and operated by State Highway Administration, but they happen to be outside and are one of our primary 24-hour gates, which does cause some backup, but the backup, usually on Friday afternoons or busy weekends, busy weeknights in the summer is mostly associated with beach traffic and people trying to divert, the Bay Bridge. So
Yeah, I think, Zoe, there's lots of time for them to come present.
Mhm.
You know, we've not been overwhelmed with presentations. We probably have.
Yeah, yeah. So I think it'd be good to have that conversation, kind of look at a broader set of issues associated with that congestion and rerouting bridge traffic through the city.
Yeah, thank you for that. Round the table, Beth?
I don't have anything happening, but I do have a question based on what Zoe just said. I have the lights at Church Circle. Now, do they belong to the highway administration? I always have figured they belong to the city, but maybe they don't. I don't know. But the one for turning down to Duke of Gloucester Street, I do that regularly because of where I live, and I can't tell you the amount of cars I see go through that red light. It's just amazing. Every time I go there, I think that there's at least one car, sometimes two, that go through that red light. And I keep thinking that somebody is going to get hit or something. And that if it was city, the city could make a lot of money if they put a photo camera there, you know? But I have no idea. I do think it's something the city should look at because it just happens constantly. And it isn't out of towners necessarily. Let's say, I mean, it's Maryland plate. But people go through that light around that corner onto Duke of Gloucester and through that light all the time. And I'm just so afraid someone's going to be hurt. So that's the only thing. Kwaku, was he going to say something? His doohickeys.
I would defer that to Public Works, but if my memory serves me very right, those lights they belong to the city because in the CIP at one point the lights are the signalization, the module, everything is very, very old, and Public Works was trying to get funding to replace them in a coordinated manner. So I can reach out to the new city traffic engineer, Jeff Werns, and then check with him, and maybe he can call the chair of the board in terms of what information he may have. And of course, nowadays you can have red light photos at no expense to the city, only that the city will share in the net profit if that is so desired. But the city has a new traffic engineer who is responsible for all these things. But my feeling is that those lights belong to the city. But I can check into that and ask the traffic engineer to give you a call.
Yeah,
or send something to the board.
Yeah, they just need to look into it because it's amazing how many cars go through that red light. And I mean red. I don't mean caution. I mean it's red. It has changed and it's really red. So
Karma, I believe that that intersection is within a half a mile of a school. And so from a safety point of view, it could come under the Maryland laws that would allow us to put up a speed camera, right?
Yeah, speed camera or red light. In fact, in this particular case, I think she's talking about the red light, people running red when they're supposed to stop.
But we have, I'm sorry, speed cameras, red light cameras. I'm thinking of them interchangeably, Kwaku, but thank you. But there is the possibility to have a light there because it's within a half a mile of a school in order to.
Two schools, actually. 2 schools, St. Anne's and St. Mary's.
Yeah. You're following, Carmen? I mean, we can only really put in a camera to catch people violating traffic laws if it's a safety reason. So
yeah, that law just changed
right
last year. So we've actually been talking about the red light cameras and the speed cameras interchangeably. So I know that on the council, we did pass legislation that says we want the ability to put them in where necessary. And so we're working with Annapolis Police Department to identify because up until very recently, you had to have a uniformed officer reviewing all of those in order to issue citations. But that also, I believe, changed with the state law. I'm a little gray
I
on
don't
that,
remember
whether
that
it's actually
changing.
changed or if it's getting ready
Yeah.
to change.
I don't think it did change. I think people were hoping it would change because the burden.
Yeah.
But there still is a bit of cost analysis to be done there based on the review versus, how much,
Right.
but it's a safety issue, really. If it's cost neutral, the idea would be safety, school district, people, and that's also a very high traffic tourist area as well.
Oh,
Exactly.
yeah.
Thank you, Beth. Bob, anything for around the table?
Yes, a couple of things. First of all, I just wanted to comment to Zoe that an accident on the Severn River Bridge will also make a big difference in the King George and right at the Naval Academy. The other thing is, I've suggested this before, Zoe, you could put up a big sign that would really help coming into that intersection from the left, which would say, "Don't block the box," because many, many times these cars just jam the whole intersection, and the people coming down King George can't turn left, they can't do anything. So that would be a real nice thing. I mean, that's a very small thing to do. Don't block the box. The second thing is I'd like to say is that premium parking has done a fairly decent job now in the area that I live in, which has been shut down by the Naval Academy wall situation, the 2-year project that we got going there. They've been better. I've seen them ticket quite a bit in that area, so that's better. The problem I see is that I left to go to Maine in the first part of July. I came back a few days ago, and 0 things have happened on that wall project. The Navy has done nothing in the last 3 weeks that I can see. I mean, I'm looking, nobody's working, and they put some things for the foundation, but they said the last time they're going to take down the box, the electrical box that's still there, that they were going to move and take down where the wall is at College Avenue. That hasn't happened. I just don't see them working, Zoe. I don't know what they're doing, but they're not working.
Right. I don't think, Bob, that this is the forum to kind of go into all the details with the project. They did have a few, but I'm just going to say they did have a few. Well, the weather has not been cooperative this spring and into the summer with this rain. They have encountered a couple issues associated. One was associated with the stormwater that had to be repaired, and most recently they've had to have a stop in this last week to deal with some electrical line issues that were encountered when they were working on that box and some of the other projects. So from time to time, when you don't see, hold on 1 minute. Okay, sorry. So from time to time, you may see a stop, but what we can't do is we can't give like a daily or weekly update just due to manning, and our construction crews can't keep everybody up to date every time there's a stoppage for an issue that gets presented on a daily basis. So, but more to come on that, Bob.
Okay, well, I don't want to grab hole into that wall situation, but they built Hillman Garage in way less time than they're going to fix the wall. That's all.
Thank you. David DeQuinzio, anything?
Yeah, just at the national level, I would encourage everyone to follow the efforts by the Trump administration and Secretary Duffy to undo the federal highway approval of New York City's congestion program, which there's some very interesting exchange between Secretary Duffy and Representative Nadler, in whose district the congestion pricing exists. And just the absurd reasoning and twisted logic coming out of the secretary's mouth will just will make your head spin. But this whole thing has very important implications for local control. And it's interesting that a party that used to champion states' rights and localized decision making has a huge problem with this particular exercise of local control. Now, I bring this up not because I'm ready to start championing congestion pricing for Annapolis, but other things we may want to do locally. We may encounter similar headwinds where if it puts somebody's nose out of joint in DC, that we won't be able to do it. And by the way, there's an interesting backstory to that one of the reasons the administration has been trying to undo New York City's congestion pricing is that a politically connected donor to Mr. Trump's campaign, President Trump's campaign, happens to own a parking garage within the congestion zone, and his parking garage revenue has been affected, even though by every other measure the project has been a smashing success in terms of much smoother flow of traffic, environmental improvement. Also, buses are moving much more reliably and predictably and more quickly through the zone. But yeah, these are definitely dark times for anyone like me who has advocated for new ways of thinking in transportation, particularly at the federal level.
Thank you, Dave.
That's all I have.
Thanks so much. Vince?
I don't have any new business. Thank you.
Okay. I think then we're at the end. Yeah, we don't have Kurt. Okay, we can carry this forward. I'm sure he'll comment on it next time. Motion to adjourn, anyone?
Were we going
Motion
to
to
have a
adjourn.
conversation about the day of the week so we could try and avoid conflicts in the future?
What, Zoe? Say it again.
Are we going to have a conversation about the day of the week we're having meetings to try and avoid conflicts in the future, or just that we were having an August meeting to kind of make up for missed days?
We're having an August meeting to make up for missed days.
Okay.
And then the other concept was really just that I guess, council meetings kept getting scheduled on the same day as our committee meeting. And the scheduler didn't realize that is not allowed. I mean, it's specifically stated that shouldn't happen. And so now I think our meeting might just go out a week or more than before. I should check with Hillary and see what she's going to do about it. I don't know why the council meetings would have changed such that we suddenly had this conflict. I can round back, but the idea is that we avoid having a meeting on the same evening as council would have their meetings.
Okay.
I can tell you why it was put together. And it was put out because there are like 2 times during the year that the council meeting has to change from the 2nd and the 4th Monday. There's one time in June that happens because most of the council and a lot of the other employees attend the Maryland Municipal League conference in Ocean City. That is always that week, like whatever the 20th of June is. And so we always have moved our meetings. In the past, they've gone ahead and had boards and commission meetings when we've moved it to like either the following week or to a Monday or Tuesday. But twice last year, there were commission commissions that met on the same night of council meetings, and decisions were made in the commission that really should have had council there, and or vice versa. Things were decided at the council meeting where there should have been that particular commission in attendance at the council meeting. And so I actually sponsored legislation that said, we know when the meetings are scheduled, and we can
that they
a
would
year
look-
out tell you when those are.
Okay. Thank you.
So it
All
shouldn't
right.
happen in the future.
Shouldn't happen in the future, right? Or ours just gets moved a week forward or back to accommodate it. Yeah.
Correct.
Yep.
And that's known. We approve our calendar usually in December, but this year it'll probably be January since it's an election year. But we approve the calendar for the next year. So the calendar is set usually by
Yeah,
January 1.
I think it was just a matter that Hillary and team didn't realize that that they had to, do the workaround rather than
Yeah.
keep them on the same day.
Yeah. Now everybody knows.
Yeah. All right. Anything else? Otherwise, we'll see some of you on Wednesday evening, and we'll see you all in August. And I'll send around, when I receive from Kwaku, the final report, the June or July dated final report. I'll send that around. And I'll probably also summarize the transportation goals from the plan, what I'm calling the 15-year plan. They are pretty interesting to read. There are even performance measures in there that are really interesting. So we should all sort of have that in our back pocket as things that sort of help guide us on what we hope to accomplish. All right.
Thank you.
Bye. Motion, seconded, adjourned. Thanks.